Caitlin Clark, let it be known, she does not like this Stephanie White offense, how these players in the WNBA don't even know where to move or how to move or where to cut. And that leads to a lot of her turnovers. And she also states how much she misses Lisa Bluder. And I think all of us Indiana Fever Caitlin Clark fans prefer if Lisa Bluder was the head coach of the Indiana.
Caitlin Clark didn't just light up the scoreboard. She might have just set her entire playbook on fire. Dropping rookie records while eyeing the very offense she's running with suspicion, Caitlin Clark's approach to the game could change everything. But here's the thing. What if this game changer is being forced to fit into a system that can't handle her talent?
I mean, what's going on here? And I'm sorry, but if Stephanie White's supposed to be this all-world coach, you're not going to show up to a game against the Phoenix Mercury with DeWanna Bonner playing on the other side after what she did to the Indiana Fever franchise, and you show up there and somehow the team is lifeless? Sophie Cunningham coming back to Phoenix and the team is lifeless? That is the coach.
If Caitlin were allowed to run free, she could truly reshape the future of basketball. Instead, she's battling a system that's determined to dim her shine. Is that fair? Can the WNBA afford to hold back one of its brightest stars? Let's rewind to when Caitlin Clark first made waves in college. She was a force, someone who could take over games at will. Under Lisa Bluder, Clark was handed the keys to the offense and told, "Go be you."
Sums up why I can't stand Stephanie White as a basketball coach for Caitlin Clark. I don't think that Stephanie White is a bad coach. I don't get it twisted. She's not a bad coach at all. I just don't think she's the right coach for Caitlin Clark. So let's take a listen to this right here. This was on the podcast with Super.
But I think that's even been something like me and Steph have always talk about when we go and watch film, and even that New York game where I played really, really well. Obviously scored a lot of points. I think I had 9 assists or 10 assists that game.
She was a rebound and assist off a 32-point triple-double. And is the only reason her team's in the game.
But here's the catch. That same freedom that made her a college legend is now the very thing she's being denied in the WNBA. Bluder trusted Clark to be herself, to create her magic on the court. In the pros, it's a whole different story. It's like handing her a Ferrari and telling her not to go over 40 miles per hour. The talent is undeniable, but the system, not so much.
Man, it's just going to be interesting to see her come back and see this team fully go full circle around their set leader, and I'm still banking on it being Caitlin Clark. Without Caitlin Clark, they had 19 in the one game and 16 in their previous game without CC even playing.
In college, Caitlin Clark was free to take risks, and it paid off. But now, let's take a hard look at what's going wrong. In the WNBA, she's trapped. Under coach Stephanie White, Caitlin is supposed to fit into an offense that's rigid, formulaic, and frankly, uninspiring. There's no room for that raw, spontaneous play that made her an all-time great in college.
My precious Cece, she was upset. She didn't say nothing, no smiling, walked off, not looking at no cameras. I'm talking about, you can tell it's all on her face. She got it in her mind. But look, I need y'all to understand. That was so embarrassing and pathetic, and the teamwork was not there. But I remember Jordan had got hurt his second year. He didn't come back until playoffs, and that playoff series was legendary. He scored 63 points in one game, but he still lost though.
Instead of pushing boundaries, she's being held back by a system designed to play it safe. And let's face it, basketball isn't supposed to be about playing it safe.
The Stephanie White offense compared to what she was doing at Iowa when she took over the world. Let's take a look.
At the college, it was very similar. All I would attack, we're known to have 5 shooters on the floor at all time. We played with really good floor spacing, and at Iowa it was the same way. 4 people were on the floor that could shoot at the same time. Then obviously we usually played with a true post, but they rarely missed too. Mon never missed. Hannah Stolke was tremendous when I was there too, and even our backup post players. I always think about how Coach Bluder ran practices and things, and I'm very fortunate looking back and now going to watch other colleges' practices and things like that. She really was so intentional about making sure everyone was on the same.
Caitlin Clark is a game changer, and when you force a game changer to play by the rules, you lose what makes them great. It's the same old story in the WNBA. The The focus is on playing smart, disciplined basketball. But let's ask the real question here. What happens when the most electrifying players are expected to conform to that system?
In over 10 years, and Caitlin Clark has something to do with that, man. They was 8-5 with Caitlin. At the end of the day, no matter how many games they win, they lost more games without Caitlin Clark playing. Like, so everybody argument that Caitlin Clark is the Achilles heel, Caitlin Clark is this and that, your argument is obsolete, bro. They will forever have that notion on there, that blemish on there. Now, if they would have won more games, lost less, then you might have had something.
The league isn't getting the best version of Caitlin Clark. It's getting a watered-down version. What the WNBA needs isn't another player who can play safe basketball, but a player who can change the game with every touch of the ball. And that's where Caitlin shines, when she's given the freedom to operate like the superstar she truly is.
He still lost, though. But at the end of the day, he fought. And you could tell that he missed being away from the game. So I can see my precious CC coming back doing her thing for the playoffs. I just want her to be 100% healthy at the end of the day. If Stephanie White gonna keep jeopardizing.
When Caitlin Clark hit the court against the Liberty, you could feel the energy in the air. She was cooking. But here's the shocking part. Even after a few turnovers, she was benched. That's right, Caitlin Clark, one of the brightest stars in the league, was pulled from the game for making mistakes. Imagine that. Even Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest to ever play, made mistakes, but he didn't get pulled off the court for it. So why should Caitlin? The way she was treated in that game wasn't just unfair, it was a clear message that this league is more concerned with controlling players than letting them flourish.
Indiana Fever fans, so let's keep it real, let's keep it 100 like I'm being frank, you hear me? So let me ask y'all again, is Stephanie White a good coach, a great coach? I'm waiting. No, she not even close. If anything, she puts a star in the offense. She's sucking the life out of the team, out of the franchise. And Kelly Krostoff, whatever her name is, Lynn Dunn, you hear me? They all need to go.
But here's the problem with that mentality. It doesn't work. You can't suppress a player's creativity and expect them to thrive. You can't build a league that celebrates high IQ players if you're constantly telling them to play safe. Caitlin Clark is a player who thrives on chaos, unpredictability, and risk. And when you bench her for a few turnovers, you're telling her not to take those risks. And that's the moment when you start stifling greatness.
White, Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White remains fully confident in her team following Thursday's deflating loss. The veteran coach sent a clear message. It was a 35-point ass drubbing. It was deliverance and Ned Beatty. Anybody seen that? Squeal like a pig? Yeah. The Phoenix Mercury bleeped the shit out of the Indiana Fever last.
We've all heard it. The mantra of safe basketball. But here's the truth you might not want to hear. Safe basketball is boring. The WNBA has become so focused on minimizing mistakes that it's forgotten why fans love the game in the first place. Because it's unpredictable, because anything can happen. When you make the game about don't mess up, you rob it of the very energy that makes it exciting. And when you play it safe, you risk becoming irrelevant.
In the post-game press conference, Caitlin Clark Stephanie White made sure to give out about Caitlin Clark not passing the ball to Dantas. Like, we've seen Damiris Dantas play. She can't shoot. Why would Caitlin Clark pass the ball on an all-time heater to Dantas?
This just his last game this year. Mm-hmm. I started the fourth quarter off with like 3 turnovers in a row or 2 turnovers in a row, and Steph yanked me, and she was like this is like a learning moment. Like, you got to be able to, like, yes, like maybe it could have been there, like maybe you could have thrown a little bit better of a pass, maybe they could have caught it, but like, do we need that in this moment?
Caitlin Clark doesn't just play basketball, she redefines it with every move. But in the WNBA, she's expected to fit into a predictable system. But what happens when that system isn't designed for stars like Caitlin? The league loses the very thing that makes it compelling. Imagine a league where players can't make risky passes or shoot from anywhere on the court. Imagine a league where every possession feels like it's on a leash. That's where the WNBA is heading, if it doesn't start letting its most talented players like Caitlin Clark truly express themselves.
Lisa Bluder always made sure people knew what they were going to do, aka she made sure people knew their role. Everybody knew their role, and that is the problem with the Indiana Fever and the bullcrap that Caitlin Clark deals with now. We got Natasha Howard coming in talking about she wanted to win MVP. Red flag. Red flag. We got Caitlin Clark, and you're talking about joining this team and winning MVP. She didn't know her role. Didn't know her role. That is the difference. We got a bunch of people on this team that do not know and understand their role.
Why does Caitlin Clark thrive in college but struggle in the WNBA? The answer is simple. It's not just about her talent. It's about the system. Here's the hard truth. College coaches like Lisa Bluder understand the game on a different level. They know how to get the best out of their players by giving them the freedom to fail, to learn, and to grow. Bluder's philosophy wasn't about controlling the game. It was about letting Caitlin Clark control it herself. That's why she became so successful. But in the pros, Caitlin is being treated like a cog in a wheel instead of the engine that could drive the entire league forward. And let's be clear, if the WNBA wants to succeed, it needs more coaches like Lisa Bluder, not fewer. Coaches who understand that creativity, mistakes, and freedom are part of the game. Coaches who understand that the occasional turnover isn't the end of the world. It's a chance to learn, adapt, and come back stronger. The WNBA needs coaches who trust their players to make plays and who believe in their talent, because when you give players like Caitlin Clark that trust, they repay you with performances that can change the future of the sport.
Today, Stephanie White has a clear conundrum on her hands, and she needs to figure out a solution to this problem before it's too little, too late. When Caitlin Clark was out with injury, Natasha Howard played well. Natasha Howard played well enough that kept us afloat along with Ari McDonald, along with Kelsey Mitchell, but Natasha Howard wasn't nearly as much of a hinder to the offense with Caitlin Clark.
Here's the reality check. The WNBA is built on a system of veteran preference. And here's the kicker. Rookies like Caitlin Clark are expected to be perfect from the start, while veterans are given a pass even when they make mistakes. This isn't just unfair, it's holding the league back. The league needs to embrace a meritocracy, where players are judged on their performance, not their seniority. The problem with the current system is that it stifles younger talent and creates an atmosphere where players are afraid to fail. They're afraid to take risks, and when you're afraid to take risks, you can't grow. If the WNBA is going to truly thrive, it needs to reward players for their talent, not their tenure. It needs to let rookies like Caitlin Clark have the freedom to play, to experiment, and to fail without the fear of being benched, because that's how stars are made. The WNBA needs to start embracing the future, and that future is players like Caitlin, who have the skills, the mindset, and the creativity to take the league to new heights. What's the solution? It's simple. The WNBA needs to give Caitlin Clark the freedom to be Caitlin Clark. Here's the bottom line. The league is missing out on one of its most exciting players because it's forcing her to play within a system that doesn't suit her strengths. Caitlin Clark is a player who thrives when she's allowed to take risks. She thrives when she's given the green light to experiment and make plays. The WNBA needs to stop treating her like a rookie who needs to be controlled and start letting her be the player she was born to be. The league needs to realize that greatness doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from embracing the chaos, the mistakes, and the brilliance that comes with letting players be themselves. And Caitlin Clark is the perfect example of this. She's the future of the game, and if the WNBA doesn't start trusting its stars, it could very well lose them. In the end, the WNBA has a golden opportunity in Caitlin Clark. But here's the reality. If the league continues to suppress her talent and creativity, they're going to miss out on one of the most electrifying players to ever step onto the court. The WNBA needs to embrace the future of basketball, and that future includes players like Caitlin Clark who can change the game with every play. But to do that, the league needs to stop clipping her wings and start letting her soar. To grow the league, the WNBA needs to let its stars be free. They need to stop prioritizing safe basketball and start prioritizing creativity, excitement, and the very things that make the sport so thrilling. If they do that, they'll have a league that fans can't stop watching. If not, they'll be left with a product that's as predictable as it is forgettable. The choice is theirs.